So what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Robert. If this is your first time tuning in. So today, in today's video, we're going to cover a question that I get from time to time, and a question that a lot of people ask, and there's kind of a debate. You know, is it better to have a bigger property, or can you still attract deer on a smaller property? You know, and there's arguments for both sides. There's people that say, no, you need a bigger property. There's people that say you can do it with just a smaller property. So I'm just gonna give my opinion on it, my take on it, from my experience as well. And for those of y'all who are wondering, I am actually walking fine now. My foot is finally healed. Ligament issues usually take a long time, so it took me quite a while. They said about 3 months it would take before it healed in about 2 months, so not bad. But we're gonna go ahead and get into it. So the question is, should I buy a larger tract of land but it doesn't necessarily have everything a deer needs right now, or should I buy a smaller tract of land that has, you know, a little bit more of the needs of a deer? So it doesn't necessarily matter on the size of the property, but it is an ideal situation if you can have more land. So if you have the finances for it, if you find a property that is large in size, by large I mean hundreds if not thousands of acres, you can produce bigger deer, more deer, and better quality deer if you have the finances for that, and if you can find a property in a good location. You can find 5,000 acres in the desert, but doesn't have shelter, doesn't have food, doesn't have water, and you know, just bare, arid land. You know, there's no reason to have those 5,000 acres if you're going out there for deer hunting, versus, you know, having 100 acres maybe like this with a little bit of brush, some shelter, some food and forage, and even water. My point is that the size of the land doesn't necessarily matter so much. It's the quality of the land that matters the most. If you can just find a smaller piece of property with all the needs for the deer, again, food, water, shelter, during the rut it's going to come down to other mates, females and does, or females and males. Those are typically going to be important. And aside from just buying a large tract of land, a lot of things, got a spider web, a lot of things I have been seeing are a lot of ranches, landowners, ranchers selling their properties because, let's just say this property is, I don't know, let's just say it's 500, 600 acres, right? We have the property behind us, so let's just say that was another 200, 300 acres, and they sold, but now there's a developer there, now there is an investor there, and he is basically subdividing the land, right? Breaking it up into 30, 40, 50 pieces of property. So potentially I could have a large tract of land, but now I'm gonna have, you know, 50 neighbors right behind me versus when I only had one. That's gonna put a lot of hunting pressure on my 500 acres, because now I have these people, you know, now 50 potential hunters right behind me. So that's going to put a lot of pressure on this land. Again, this is a hypothetical situation, but I see it happening. I've been looking at some properties that are, you know, 1,000 acres, 800 acres, 500 acres, 400 acres. And for whatever reason, I don't know if the land's getting passed down to the grandkids, or the owners are just tired of owning the land, taking care of the land and managing the land, but they sell. Whoever purchases the property ends up subdividing the property out, and now you have multiple tracts of land. So now the neighbor next door is like, I don't want no part of that, and he will sell as well. So that's just things that I'm seeing online. Again, when I'm scrolling, I'm like, okay, cool, 1,000 acres, let's check that out. And then I go on the map and I Google everything to kind of see what's around. And then I come to find out, oh shoot, that's that small listing for 10 acres. Oh, there's another small listing for 10 acres. And then I realize it's right behind that big tract of land that I just saw. So not every large property is going to be you know, great. Again, you're gonna have to kind of look around, do some research on what is nearby, what's going on, what's happening in that area, why are they selling. Because yeah, you could have a big tract of land, but it might not be the best big tract of land, especially if you're gonna have, you know, 50 neighbors right beside you. But with that being said, yes, you can bring in deer even with a smaller property, especially if the larger properties next door are lacking in either food, shelter, or water. If you can at least supply at least one of those things, you're gonna get deer out there. The deer will go out there. Especially if you have like a smaller property and you just kind of have it kind of getting a little bit more wild and untamed, you'll typically get a lot more does as well. They'll bring in fawns, they feel a little bit safer, and they'll bed down in here and kind of raise the young fawns in these general spots, especially when they're really young. Once they start to get a little bit older, they start to get a little bit more adventurous, and they'll kind of start to meander and wander around a little bit more. But until then, they usually will keep them hidden in all of this brush. But yes, to answer your question, you can still bring in deer with a smaller property. Yes, the ideal situation is to have a lot of land, because now you can control what happens in and around your area. That would be the ideal situation, to get the most amount of land, and then kind of not develop it, but develop it, for lack of a better word, manage it, I guess I should say, manage it for the deer to create a great deer habitat or environment. That would be the ideal situation. But again, not everybody has the finances to do that, or is in a situation to do that. So you can do it with a small property, just providing one of the three needs for these animals. But I hope that kind of helped. Again, to kind of wrap up, yes, a big large tract of land is great. It's obviously better than a smaller one, given the right situations and the right type of management. But you can still do very well with a small property as well, as long as you know what you're doing. It takes a little bit more work, it's going to be a little bit harder, but yes, it can be done. Without further ado, appreciate you guys watching. Till next time, be careful, be good, take care, and God bless. See you guys later. Bye-bye.